Hey, good morning. It's Rachel. I'm going to do a video on all the things I wish I had done differently and what I'm going to change going into the next year's growing season. I think it's actually really important to do this. I think as gardeners, we can learn a lot from each other, and it's so much better to learn from other people's mistakes, including from your own. So let's crowdsource this. And the other reason is just kind of an emotional one. I think it's really discouraging if all you see is other people posting success videos and glorious huge harvests, and then you're sitting there thinking, God, what am I doing wrong? So I think sharing the mistakes is also just good, right? It's the opposite of a highlight reel. So don't compare reality to a highlight reel. Let's just compare reality to reality. So first, please, if anybody has things they would do differently next year, comment and share so we can all benefit from each other's learning. I will say mine, kind of two big categories. The first is what I would grow. So I would grow different things next year. For starters, this cherry tomato plant behind me is awesome. It's amazing. I love cherry tomatoes. They're really productive. They are healthy. They set fruit fast. They ripen fast, so they don't linger on the vine getting eaten by birds and squirrels and stuff. And so I love them. And I don't know why I don't plant more of them. Every year I fall prey to the seed catalog, Seductive Call of the Slicer Heirloom Tomato, and I put a bunch of them in, and they're great, but they also split, and they take a long time to ripen, and. So I think I need to make more room for cherry tomatoes. So next year my goal is to plant at least 4 or even 5 different cherry tomato plants, and just sort of force myself through lack of room to limit the number of heirloom slicers that I put in. So if anybody has recommendations for cherry tomatoes, specifically cherry size, please let me know. I would really appreciate it. There's there's 1,000 things in the seed catalog. So if I could narrow that down, I'd appreciate some tips. The other change to what I would grow is I would actually put a lot more beets in for their greens. I mentioned that in my spring MVP video of the plants that we really loved. The beets were awesome, and I would say now, especially that my lettuce is gone, I put this buckwheat cover crop in to give them some shade, and that actually really helped a lot. But even after that, lettuce bolts, it's what it does. My spinach bolted. And I think that I really should put in more beets and just treat them like a salad green, because they are still producing now, and it's really nice to have that variety. So it's all not just kale. So next year I'm definitely going to put in more beets for their leaves, and probably bull's blood and some of the ones that are grown just for their leaves, and make that more intentional. So that's my other change of what I would plant for next year. And then I have 2 big ones or it's actually 3, on how I would plant. So the first is this missed opportunity. I didn't do a lot of underplanting this year. This is a new garden we just put in. If anybody watched our videos on our soil experiment, we had pretty lousy soil, and I couldn't go out and buy a compost or anything to make it better. So we worked with it, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. But I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So I didn't plant as densely as I otherwise might have. And in retrospect, this stuff is all taken off. I totally could have done it, and I wish that I had. So especially as an example for the spring salad greens, next year my plan is to do taller celery, tuck some spinach next to that, so a little bit shorter, and then tuck some lettuce even next to that, so that you get that double layer of shade for the salad greens and help them, not bolt, but also just more productive, a more dense planting, so I can get more out of the same space. So I really wish I had done more underplanting this year. So I'm going to change that. The other thing I would do differently is seed tape. I this year just kind of did what I normally do, which is sprinkling the seeds in. And I've learned more this year from other gardeners talking about seed tape. I'm going to make my own. I'm going to use it this fall and see if it's different. And if it works, I'm going to do it in the spring. My stuff was planted really densely, which was fine. I think it actually helped shade the soil and keep it cool. But harvesting that is a total pain. It's just really, really tight, and you're getting in there and you're trying to take out individual leaves, and it was a bit of a hassle. So I think having a more even spacing would be a better use of that space. So I'm going to try that with seed tape. And then the third difference on the how I would plant with all of this stuff is I would mark, I don't know if this is planting or not, but I would mark my determinate tomato varieties better. So I had, it's this little guy behind me is a determinate paste tomato. And I had this stressful phone call at work, and I decided to go out to the garden and take out the energy and, you know, give myself something to do with my hands. And so I was pruning tomatoes, and because I was distracted, I pruned my determinate types. I pruned off all the suckers, and like they didn't die or anything, but I will not get nearly the harvest that I would have gotten if I had remembered that those were determinate tomatoes. And so next year when I plant my determinate tomatoes, I'm gonna actually put like a little flag on the trellis or something, so that I remember that that's a determinate type and I don't like butcher it. So those are my big changes for the year, going into next year. And again, please share if you've got your own like top 2-3 things you would do differently. And please give me some suggestions for cherry tomatoes, because I need some. But yeah, so I hope that was helpful. I think it'd be even more helpful if we all piled on here and shared what we would all do differently. So please do that. And yeah, otherwise, I just appreciate this community. It's nice for me to be able to talk to other plant nerds. So thanks for that. And yeah, please recommend cherry tomatoes. So hope that was helpful. Thanks.